Hi there. Today we're going to talk about the DJI Osmo Pocket 2 that you should all have now. How to work it, the settings to use. I'll go into greater detail, do it on a close-up because the screen, as you can see, is quite small, difficult to do from this distance. But I'll zoom in, I'll go through it with you, show you all the settings. It can be quite daunting. There are quite a lot of different settings that you can have for various different jobs and techniques. It's a wonderful little camera, but because you're only probably going to be using it for 2 or 3 different things, I'll give you what I feel would be the best settings from an editor's point of view for you to use. Not too complicated, very simple to use once you get to know it. Probably the secret would be just play around with it, you know, test it, you know, take the same shot or the same video in different settings, upload it onto the computer, have a wee look and see what you think's best. Now we're going to look at the video settings. As you can see here, I have it at 4K at 48 frames per second. Now, I want to show you something here that happens when you are in this setting of 48 frames per second and you go to the quality. It says high quality video not available in current resolution. So as you can see, the quality doesn't look very good. So then what you would do is select your camera icon, scroll it down to 30 frames per second, and then we will now go and look at the settings. And just remember, you can press that button rather than swiping. So into settings, scroll across, press quality, and you can see it's 3 stars. You can have battery saver or shooting high quality video may cause a slight warming of the handset. So this is your high quality video now. 2.7K at 30 frames per second or 1080p at 30 frames per second will be all you would need. 30 frames, 4K at 30 frames per second would probably be what you would use for a high action shot. For instance, if you were taking pictures of a thunderstorm or lightning around the garden or outside and you wanted to capture a really good shot of the lightning, you would use 60 frames per second in 4K. But for normal video work outside, inside, 4K at 30 frames per second will generate quite a large file. 2.7K at 30 frames per second would be about half the size. So if you're concerned about how much space you will have on your hard drives, your hard disks, your computers, your OneDrive, be conscious of what resolution you're using. Believe me, very quickly you will take away 1 terabyte of data using 4K at 60 frames per second. It can make a very large file for you to have to save and store. But now what I would suggest for you is probably 2.7K 30 frames per second for everything you want to do. Now we're going to give you an example of why frame rate's important. As you can see on the screen, there are some bouncing balls. Each ball is representative of the frame rate per second that it's set at. So you have 15, 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second, and 120 frames per second. Now we're only going to be looking at the 30 and the 60 frames per second. And I'm going to slow this down to half speed and quarter speed, and you will see the difference in the quality if you focus on the 30 and the 60. As you can see, it's quite blurry on the 30, not too bad on the 60, but there's not much of a difference. Now we're going to look at that in an actual piece of footage taken in my garden. Here you can see this is 4K at 30 frames per second, and now I'm going to slow it down to 50%. So this is good if you're doing a slow-mo shot in the garden where you're interviewing someone and you have the voice laid over the top and you want to slow it down. You would use 4K 30 frames per second for quality. If you're not going to be using slow motion or wanting me to slow down any of your video, then just use 2.7K at 30 frames per second. Things to watch for are sometimes it automatically resets to a previous setting. So just before you start filming, always double check your settings. Taking pictures that has a 16 megapixel or 64 megapixels, I think, you'll see that in a wee while. Always try and use the higher megapixel rate
just a better quality image, captures more things, easier for me if I need to zoom in. If it's the better quality, the higher the pixel rate, the better quality the zoom in would be on your picture. So that's it for now. Now we're going to zoom in and I'll go through all the little fiddly details, the do's, the don'ts, the things I think you should watch for. But again, it comes down to you guys. You guys are the directors of the movie. I'm just, or the documentary, I'm just the editor. It's up to you to tell me what you want to do, how you want it to look. So again, just to think about it like that. We'll go through storyboards. There's a video up for that. There's a sound tutorial as well. There's an interview tutorial. So you should have everything you need. If not, again, you can always get in touch with Ronald or Molly, and she can get in touch and he can get in touch with me via email and I'll respond. And if you need any more information, DJI have some great videos which are on YouTube, but you can get them through their website. I'll put the link down here as well. They have a Spanish translation as well. It's not Latin Spanish, it's European Spanish, but it's much better than my Spanish. So you can go through that. That's just a quick summary of what you can do, but I think the best advice is just play, have fun, and see what you think you can come up with that. Hopefully now you're seeing that picture quite well. And now, as you can see here, we have the joystick for moving the camera, adjusting it up, adjusting it down. You focus, or you zoom, you can zoom in, you can zoom out. The thing to watch for when you're doing that is that sometimes you can swipe left, you can swipe up, you can swipe down. These things bring you different functions. So this is the videos that I've made earlier, quite scary that one. So when you're using the focus, just be careful that you put your finger on it, and you'll see on the left of the screen here, the little bar appears, and that allows you to zoom in, zoom out. And it's quite smooth, and you can adjust the speed of that, and I'll go through that shortly. So you have the joystick for controlling where the camera is actually pointing. You have a button here, one press, FPV, next press, follow, next press, tilt locked. That locks everything in place. So whenever you turn the camera, it locks on that place you're in. It keeps the camera pointing in the same direction, which I'll show you here. As I tilt, it keeps the camera pointing where you want. Another good feature for when you're doing an interview or if you're doing some filming out and about. Probably that one, if you have a certain spot that you want to focus on when you're videoing and you're walking towards it, that's a great one to use. Back to the screen. So then you have the buttons here. You have the record or the take the picture button. So that would be record, and again you can see here it starts counting to let you know as it stopped. This button here, one press, switches between photograph. As you see how I took a picture there. Sweep across, you can have photo and your story, which is just an introduction to that. You play with that, you'll see what that does. Panoramic, if you want to do a slow shot. So now I'm going to show you the panorama. Okay, this is a great little thing. I'll give you that. I'll go through that now shortly for you. Oh, clunky fingers. So if you're struggling with fiddling with the screen, once you get it, just press the function key. Accepts it. Now, pressing the bottom left where the panorama symbol is brings up this. Count down till the panorama takes off, or a 3x3, which I'll show you shortly, or a 180, which I'll show you as well. Okay. with that. But probably the ones you'll be using most are photo or video. HDR video, I would kind of stay away from that. That can be quite difficult to function. Slow-mo and time-lapse, you might want to play with those as well, and see what you think. We're going to look at just video now. So once you've got the one you want, which my big fingers is quite difficult, slide it back, you're on video. But you can also just one press, flick between video. Now the settings. Let's look at the settings. So you get your gear icon. Okay, so now we're going to have a quick look at the difference between flicking between the zoom function and controlling the gimbal function using the joystick. At the moment I have it set to control the gimbal with the joystick, as you can see. The zoom function is here. Press and hold. Zoom in. And you notice I can control the speed of the zoom. Zoom out slowly, zoom out faster, zoom in really fast, zoom in slowly, zoom out slowly. I find that a little bit difficult to use here, so I'm going to turn the gimbal so you can see it better. But see this icon in the top corner here? That means that the joystick is controlling the gimbal. There's 2 quick presses of this button here. 2 presses, and you notice it changes so that the joystick now controls the zoom. 2 quick presses again, brings it back. Okay. The thing to watch for is if you press it and there's a slight delay, you end up doing that. You end up flicking between the different modes for filming. So you have to be very careful whilst you're actually recording, which I'll show you now, that you don't, that if you're doing this, if you're flicking between zoom and gimbal control, that you do it fast enough that it does it, because otherwise if you stutter you end up doing this while you're filming rather than that, the flick. So it's entirely up to yourself. If you do that, you're then controlling the up and down of the gimbal. You can't go left and right though, that's the problem when you're in the zoom function with the joystick. The only thing you can do is zoom in and zoom out. And there's the gimbal back to the joystick. I'm going to pause this for a second, recording of the on the gimbal, and show you the difference in speed of the joystick. I have the zoom set to 3 because I like a slow zoom. It's up to you. I'll show you the difference when you go up to 10. So there it is on zoom. You see the difference in the speed of the zoom. Swipe down, click, accessorize, stick, move the zoom down to 1, and then much softer, much slower. To me, I just think that feels a lot more professional looking, rather than a really fast zoom. Fast zooms would be great if you were doing action shots, but hopefully you won't be doing too many action shots. Back to the gimbal, and let's have a look, just show you while we're here actually. Oh no, wrong one, sorry. Control stick. The difference in the gimbal speed if I have it at 1. So let's them both set to 1. Again, much slower. Some might say too slow. Especially if you're outside and you're doing an interview with someone and you're controlling where the gimbal's pointing, that would be, I think, too slow. So again, it's really what you prefer as the instructors. For me, I think 8 seems to be about the best personally. Gives you a range of movement, and if you, the difficult with this is getting it to just pause halfway up. With the zoom function, you can zoom in slowly like that, or faster, zoom out too fast, sorry, zoom out too fast. So it really depends on what you prefer, works best for you. For me, using the zoom function with the joystick, it wants to be slower. And using the gimbal at an 8, it's a nice, I feel it just feels nicer to watch. To the left is choice between focus, so you can use the joystick to focus in and out, especially if you've got your tilt lock on. As I was talking earlier there about focusing on a point as you were walking, you can use the joystick up and down for focus. Press it again to switch between moving the actual gimbal and the camera head. Then you have your general settings, we'll move along there. This is glamour shots, so if you want to make yourself look even more beautiful, you would use this one. Quality, now you can choose between quality or battery life. Personally, I would always go for quality. Shooting high quality video uses up the battery and can make the actual handset a little bit warm, but not too bad. You have your pro settings, I'll run through that later. So we're into their normal settings. Here you have full screen on, gives you your storage capacity, the accessories, and FT selfie off. I would just leave that off because you're not going to be doing too many selfies. Calibrate the stick. That's really all you need to worry about that. Okay, so now to get this, when you turn the DJI on, the Osmo Pocket on, it always points directly at you towards the screen, same side as the screen. To get it to flip around, 3 quick presses of that button flips it. So next settings, let's swipe up and see what's there. This calibrates, that recenters the gimbal. So if I have it pointing up like that, you want it recentered. There's 2 ways to do it. You can press that, or double press on this button here. Double press that, recenters. 2 quick taps puts on the auto track, and no matter where I move the Osmo, it continually tracks that object. I'll give you a demonstration with my face shortly. As you can see, as I turn the DJI Pocket, it automatically stays locked on that object. Very good if you're doing interviews out and about, or if even just when you're doing an interview with a person sitting, it keeps them centre of the picture no matter what happens. I'll now give you a demonstration using a person. Let's zoom out a little. So now I have the auto track focused on me. I have to move slowly because I'm doing this all by myself, so I can't move too quickly. But you can see as I move, the Osmo Pocket head moves with me, following me wherever I go, keeping me centre of shot. The secret is if I move too fast, the camera takes a little while to catch up. But this here is a great feature if you're doing an interview outside where the person's walking around doing things like this. If you have it set too fast, you'll get jumps. The camera will jump. If it's slow, the camera will follow in just a nice smooth motion. So it depends what you want. If you want action shots, you'd want it to be fast. If you're doing an interview, you'd probably want it to be quite slow. So it's if someone was in the garden and they were showing you something or talking about something and we're moving quite a bit around, it's great for that. Or even if you're just sitting still, it keeps it focused on them. I'll pull a chair out here and sit down. Now I'll probably disappear from the main camera. So if I'm sitting here, the camera's on my face. If I decide to shift position as people do when they're talking, it keeps it on them. So this is a very good little camera for autofollow.
So that's basically a quick overview of some of the functions on the Osmo Pocket 2. My best advice again is just you guys go have a play, see what you think, do what you want to do with it, try it with different settings. Watch the video. You can use a mobile device with this. Watch the video on the DJI website, the link's down below, you'll see that there, and it's up previously on the screen. The thing to be careful of when you're removing the joystick casing here, just don't push it with the joystick, push from this end and then pinch and pull. It's very easy to break, I'm sure, so just be careful with that. Also, if you're using a mobile device, when you have it connected, make sure you're holding both. Don't rely on just holding the one and leaving this hanging. It will damage the connector. So make sure you hold both. Can be difficult to manipulate when you're doing that. Also, it's better to use the mobile, which you can see on the DJI tutorial, how to download it, how to download the app, how to use the app. That's a good place to look at the pro settings. I'll let you have a look at that. One of the features of it is you can change the microphones that are on the DJI Pocket. The DJI Pocket has 4 microphones, one on the back just above the record button, one on the side just here, one on the other side exactly opposite, and one on the front here. The thing to watch for is when you're holding it and when you're operating it, that you're not rubbing against the microphones. Hence why it's always good to have another source of sound, even if it's just an iPhone or an Android device lying on the table when you're interviewing someone, or if they're wandering around, they're just holding their phone, just maybe out shot down here, it'll pick up great. And you'll see all that in the sound tutorial, how important sound is. Won't belate the point. Also, when you're storing the DJI Pocket, here's the on button here, here's the carry case that comes with it. Usually you would have your things stored inside. When you're putting it in, make sure that the lens here, let me show you better, the lens here is pointing inwards, and that the on and off switch is on the inside. So it would go. That way, if you put it in your pocket or you're carrying it, you won't be switching it on or off by accident and damaging the gimbal, because when you are switching it on, you have to make sure, when you're taking it out as well, be careful, you have to make sure that the gimbal's free to move whenever you turn it on, because it does that, it flicks around. So again, just make sure you turn off before you do anything, especially when you're changing this, make sure you switch it off, so and then you're not running power through it. I think that's about everything. If you have any questions, get in touch via the usual channels and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Have fun, take as many pictures and videos as you possibly can. You probably will only use about a quarter to half of what you shoot, but it's better to have too much than not have enough, and try and revisit the same spot or the same place at the same time to get a better shot. So just keep shooting, keep filming, keep recording, don't stop, and talk to you very soon. Thank you very much.